Representative John Smithy of Amarillo has introduced a bill to improve transparency over economic development corporations.
This comes in the wake of concerns over openness at the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. Investigative reporter David Grasso-Ortega has been following this issue closely. He joins us now. Good evening, David.
Lisa Larry, the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation, or AEDC, has been in the headlines recently because of an ongoing federal investigation into their purchase of the Commerce Building downtown. Now, a bill filed by Representative Smithy seeks to improve transparency and change the way they keep the public informed of their business dealings. Transparency is always an issue for government, and the rules are constantly changing. This year's legislative session in Austin is proving to be no different. On the last day before the filing deadline, Representative John Smithy filed House Bill 3838, limiting Type A economic development corporations from spending more than $50,000 unless they meet several requirements.
The concern that's been brought to me is that a lot of times the EDCs will take up business and the public doesn't really know what's being discussed. And as a result of that, people don't have the ability to make input into the process.
In Amarillo, every time we buy something, we pay 8.25% sales tax. Out of that amount, half a cent goes to fund the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. And recently, a perceived lack of transparency and an investigation by the FBI into the Commerce Building is raising many questions about their business dealings. The AEDC did not get back to us to speak to this issue. Amarillo City Attorney Marcus Norris says the AEDC is operating in the sunshine and that they're more transparent than many other EDCs around the state.
There are other corporations that are much less transparent than this EDC. This EDC does a good job of guarding their confidentiality for their negotiations and at the appropriate time disclosing the name of the prospect.
Representative Matt Schaefer from Tyler has also filed House Bill 1249 to force EDC's hands in spending excess money. According to his data, the AEDC had over $50 million in cash in 2013, the most in Texas.
Anytime that there's a large amount of resources accumulated of public money, I think that gets the attention not only of the legislature but of the public to know how much money is there, what's it going to be used for, and what safeguards are in place to make sure that it's properly used.
The Texas Public Policy Foundation released a statement to ABC7 in support of another bill intended to make EDCs more transparent. And they say they have a coalition of both liberal and conservative organizations that are all clamoring for change. And they say that a lot of these bills mean that the Texas Open Meetings Act would matter once again.
We are aware of House Bill 3838. And it would require AEDC to change the way it publishes its notices. And if that bill were to become law, we would advise them to comply with that law.
Concerned citizen Craig Galtaire says this talk of transparency is especially appropriate during an election year.
This is an opportunity where you could support it and say you are for transparency. Okay? It's real simple. I mean, it's black or white. You're either for transparency or you're not.
And speaking of transparency, following an appeal to the Texas Attorney General, we've received 700 pages of records requests from the AEDC. We have the records that were turned over to the FBI when they requested them. Now we're digging into the contents of these emails between AEDC officials, legal counsel, and private investors regarding the Commerce Building transaction, and we'll be updating you in the near future.
All right, thank you.